What's up, YouTube? It is your boy Killer Cat Movie killing it. Welcome back to the Killer Squad, man. Today, man, we're gonna react to Moonlight. Before we get into this video, shout out to KB. I apologize if I said your name wrong, but let's get right into it.
How's it going, everybody? It's Warren, and welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and MCU. And last night we got the official trailer for Moon Knight. And I have to say, I do believe Moon Knight is going to be one of my favorite Disney Plus shows that is coming from Marvel. It looks awesome. And judging by the comments on my reaction video, it seems like everybody pretty much thinks the same thing. But for those people who don't know exactly who Moon Knight is, the trailer can be a little confusing. So we're going to break it all down today. And of course, if you love Marvel and you want to stay up to date on Moon Knight and the MCU,
I
be
love
sure to
Marvel.
subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Now, the first thing that you need to know about this trailer is you really need to know who Moon Knight and Mark Spector are. If you don't have somewhat of a general basis of who they are, this trailer might be pretty confusing, but don't worry, I got you covered. Moon Knight originally appeared in not his own comic, but Werewolf by Night's comic. He debuted in 1975's Werewolf by Night number 32 and number 33. Werewolf by Night, aka Jack Russell, found himself being hunted by a mysterious hooded white figure who said that he could call him Moon Knight. Now, originally Moon Knight wasn't introduced as a hero, but he wasn't exactly a full villain. Now, Moon Knight wasn't really meant to be a main character. They brought him in Werewolf by Night as a side character, but since people really liked him, they brought him back over time and eventually gave him his own comic run. And this is actually interesting because in this one scene where we see Moon Knight in his full costume beating the crap out of somebody, this is actually Werewolf by Night that he's beating up. Coincidentally, Marvel Studios is doing a Werewolf by Night Halloween special later on this year, so they are going to connect. Now, in the original story, Mark Spector, aka Moon Knight, is a mercenary, and he's hired by a group of bad guys simply known as the Committee to capture Werewolf by Night. But he eventually gets unconscious, and he eventually lets Werewolf by Night go, and the two of them fight their way out. However, in the 80s, when Moon Knight would get his own comic run, they actually retconned his origin and changed it. Moon Knight was still Mark Spector, and he was still a mercenary. And he was working in Sudan with his friend, Frenchie. They were working for somebody called Bushman. Bushman ended up killing an archaeologist, in which Moon Knight ended up saving that archaeologist's daughter, Marlene. Bushman continued to kill people until Mark Spector eventually stood up to him. However, he lost the fight, and Bushman left him there in the desert for dead. He did manage to crawl his way back to Marlene, right before he actually died. But when he died, the statue of Khonshu, the god of the moon and vengeance, brought him back to life. He took the statue's robe and then became Moon Knight. Now, from here in the comics, Mark Spector actually gains multiple personalities. And in the comics and in the trailer, he suffers from dissociative identity disorder. And he has multiple personalities that he sometimes really doesn't have any control over.
It makes sense.
And when he switches from one personality to the other, the one that he switches to has no idea what the other just did. This started when Mark Spector became Moon Knight. He created other personalities and sort of other characters to help him fight crime. And we do actually see this in the trailer. We can see him having different names throughout the trailer. We hear him being called Steven, but at one point in time he picks up a phone, which is very old because it's a flip phone. But when he picks up the phone, it says that this person's name on the other side is Layla, which could be his romantic interest and could simply be Marlene from the comics just renamed. But she calls him Mark and he says, "Why did you call me Mark?" This is because he is no longer in the Mark Spector identity, so he has no idea what happened as Mark. He is actually Stephen Grant in this scene. And Stephen Grant is one identity of Mark, who is actually very rich and is a Wall Street player. He's a millionaire who is extremely well dressed and goes to fundraisers and galas, much like Bruce Wayne. He then has the Jake Lockley identity.
That kind of makes sense. I am a huge Moon Knight fan. Well, that's one of my favorite superheroes, bro.
Is a cab driver who goes around gathering intel, and he's pretty brutal. He's got eyes and ears everywhere, and he's very dark, very rude, and he kind of just beats people up. So we have Mark Spector, Jake Lockley, Stephen Grant, who I believe they're kind of combining into one character here, because we can see that Stephen is kind of rough around the edges. It looks like he is somewhat of a cab driver in this trailer. Perhaps Stephen is just going to be one personality of Jake and Stephen. And we can see him turn into this rough guy, perhaps into a millionaire in the show. So, Mark Spector, the mercenary, the ex-CIA member, with a character that is somewhat the combination of Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley. Then, of course, we have Moon Knight, but then we have Khonshu. Now, as it turns out in the comics, Khonshu isn't exactly the moon god. He's actually what is called an elder god, and he's actually banished from the Earth realm, but he uses Mark Spector to do his bidding as Moon Knight. So when Mark Spector takes on the personality of Khonshu, he's either an alternate personality or he's the actual real elder god living inside of Mark's mind. And he communicates with him psychically, and sometimes he gives him advice like a parent would, but sometimes he actually uses Mark to do his own bidding as a bloodthirsty and vengeful elder god. And this is actually who we see here in this hallway scene walking towards Mark, or I should say Steven, in this scene where he's absolutely
so they're two different people sharing the body.
He's actually seen this god in the hallway, because what's happening here is he can't really differentiate between his personalities, and he's kind of starting to lose control over everything. His personalities are becoming too much. We can actually see in one scene he kind of wakes up and all of a sudden realizes that he has a gun in his hand. This is because
that makes sense. Wait, so they're basically like Hulk almost. So basically, so they're kind of like two different people, just like sharing. So they're kind of like sharing a body, pretty much.
From one personality to the other, and he doesn't remember anything about what just happened when he was the other person. They all have their each individual own lives. They are all actually really separate people in his own mind, because he can't differentiate between them. So throughout this trailer, he really doesn't know if he's kind of going crazy or if this is all actually happening to him. So now that you know about his dissociative identity disorder, the trailer should probably make a little bit more sense now. And we can also see a few scenes which do seem to show us kind of an origin story of Mark Spector, because we see him in what looks to be some old ancient Egyptian ruins, and he seems to be in some sort of a temple. This could be when it's just Mark Spector as a mercenary, when he's working for Bushmen and actually becomes Moon Knight. Because obviously if they're going to tell an origin story of Moon Knight, they're going to have to show the whole ordeal with Khonshu, especially since they do show him in this trailer. Now, Ethan Hawke is playing the villain in Moon Knight, and not really much is known about his character yet. There was some sort of a rumor going around that he could be playing Randall Spector, who is the brother of Mark Spector, who goes by Shadow Knight. However, this is in no way confirmed and is just speculation at this point. But in one point in time in the comics, Randall Spector tries to kill himself. He commits a lot of crimes in the comics, including at one point in time killing Mark Spector's old girlfriend. But he is stopped from killing himself, and he is convinced that he is actually the new avatar for Khonshu, the Elder God. So he starts killing people again so his brother, Moon Knight, will find him. He does this so that he could try to kill him. But he also could be playing Amun-Ra, the sun god, who in the comics is actually the father of Khonshu. So he could be playing that avatar, because the two of them do fight with each other in the comics. This trailer doesn't tell us too much about the actual storyline. It is still somewhat of a teaser trailer. Its focus really is just kind of giving us a first look at Moon Knight and all of the characters that are going to be involved. And really throughout this trailer, what you can really take away is how messy his life is between all of his different personalities. And this happens in the comics too, to the point to where he doesn't even know if he is sort of a vessel for Khonshu or whether he just went crazy and imagined everything. But one thing that differentiates Moon Knight from a lot of other different comics and superheroes is that although he is kind of crazy, he is actually very, very real. In fact, he teams up with Spider-Man a lot, and he throws around the F word more than I think almost any other character does in the comics. And as you can see from this trailer, it's going to be very dark, it's going to be very gritty, and I think it's going to be one of the best Disney Plus shows and just one of the best projects coming from Marvel. But let me know what you think about it in the comments down below, and I hope this breakdown helped you understand further what is happening in this trailer. Be sure to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Moon Knight and MCU videos. For live updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
Alright guys, let me know what you think of my reaction down below. Killer Squad, peace.